Welcome back. This is Pastor Vince Rizzo, and I welcome you to Lesson 2 of the Coach's Toolbox. And this lesson will be talking about preparing for the first coaching session. Last lesson, we talked about what your client needs to do before the first coaching session. And again, this time we're going to be talking about preparing for that actual first coaching session. But first off, I want to share a little bit with this diagram, and this is really where we're wanting to go with this program. And so by the end of the program, you'll see how this all falls together. So the first thing we want to do is to prepare. So it's all about preparation. That's our first step, preparation, the self-assessment, the business overview, and the coaching session preparation and agenda. This is all a part of preparation as a coach, that we need to prepare all these things to work with our client. Then we go into analyzing, going over the forms that they filled out. We do the SWOT analysis. And SWOT stands for strengths. What are the strengths that your client has? Their weaknesses. What are they weak at, where they need to gain some strength in? Opportunities. What opportunities do they currently have? And threats. T is threats. What is threatening the success of their business or ministry? Next, we go on to the actual coaching for coach. That's where we have the coaching plan, coaching feedback, and the coaching journal. So you'll see how we discuss all these things. And then finally, we go into action or act, the goals, milestones, the action plan that we set up with our client, and then the accountability that your client has with you as their coach. So the first thing is preparing for your first coaching session. And you want to remember this, that you should never go into your first coaching session with the client cold. You want to know about the client before you start out. And that's going to really help you to have a better understanding of who they are and what they're going through and what the situation is, so that you can pray about it as a Christian coach dealing with them, they're a Christian business person or a pastor. You want to be able to have something to pray about and to go over and to, analyze before you start out. Having a base of information about the client in advance makes the first coaching session far more efficient. If you have to spend all this time asking them questions, it's just going to take you a lot of time that could be better spent actually doing the coaching. So you want to make sure that you get them to fill out that information so that you have something really to be going over with and thinking about, praying about, knowing what kind of questions that you're going to be asking them. You're not going to be wasting your time gathering all this information. It's just easily obtained through beforehand by them filling out these forms and then emailing them to you. The client is paying you not just for your hour that you're going to actually spend coaching them, but they're also paying for this essential preparation time. Before the first session, you want to gather and organize all the documents that you're going to need. So you want to set up a folder for your client. You want to put all these different documents in there. This will include the client's completed self-assessment worksheet, an overview of their personal professional background, and the goals that they hope to obtain through your sessions. So you want to begin to develop a folder for them and for all your clients. I mean, even though you only have one client right now, as you begin to develop other clients and you begin dealing with them, sometimes it can be where it seems like they all kind of flow together and you forget who said what. So you really need to have a folder for each client so that you can keep it together. And especially, like I said, you want to review those things before you even have your session so you can get on track and on target with them. You want to take a few minutes before each session to review these documents and get acquainted with them. Get acquainted with the documents, get acquainted with the person again. And again, as a Christian, you want to be able to pray over this situation. The great thing about being a Christian coach is the fact that, we have the Holy Spirit that can give us some insights that there's no way that we would have in the natural. And so that's where it's really important to get this information, but to begin to pray over it and to seek God and that, we're going to be dealing with the client not just from the natural standpoint, but we have that spiritual element along with that, which is much more powerful than just using regular coaching questions and tools and something just from our intellect. We actually have the Holy Spirit to help us, and that's what it's all about, is bringing a breakthrough to our clients, and that can be obtained through the Holy Spirit helping us. If you're still relatively new at coaching, you want to allow some extra time for this. So maybe as you get really experienced, maybe that preparation time before your session could maybe be, a half hour or 20 minutes or something. But to start with, it might need to be an hour. You need to spend some time to really pray, to go over everything, and to be, ready to coach your client. Expectations for the sessions. You want to discuss with the client and outline realistic expectations for your sessions together. These expectations should include the amount of time for each session. So you should have ahead of time, is this going to be an hour, 2 hours, 45 minutes, once a week, twice a month, whatever it is. We should, know what we're going to be doing that way, and what a typical session agenda is, so they understand that you're going to be spending some time, you're going to be asking them some questions, they're going to be answering those questions and things like that, and how you're going to communicate with them. Is this going to be done through Skype? Are you going to use something like freeconferencing.com? Are you going to be doing it through email? How are you going to coach them? Preferably, you want to communicate with them audibly where you can talk with them, but in some cases, some coaching and things can be done through email as well. You want to define your specific outcomes that they're going to walk away with from your coaching sessions. So you want to let them know that, with your coaching sessions, there's going to be some things that they're going to need to do. There's going to be some homework. There's going to be some action steps that they're going to need to take. And so you want to let them know ahead of time. You want to anticipate questions. You want to really try to anticipate questions or concerns that they may have. And, I know in the beginning it may sound rehearsed, but it shouldn't be rehearsed or scripted. Instead, what you need to do is write down a few questions that you can imagine your client asking and have an answer prepared. So really think about, if I were this person and I were going through this situation, what kind of questions might I ask? What would I possibly be wanting to know? And think about those questions, and then begin to think about and formulate in your own mind how you would answer those questions. So when you're just starting out, try putting yourself in the client's shoes and really figure out what you might ask. What is some questions that they would ask, and what would be an answer? And that's where our praying and seeking God, because He can give us some excellent questions. And, one question that we ask them could spark a breakthrough, because we ask them something they've never thought about before, and it will be one of those aha moments that will totally be a turnaround. Anticipate questions. Once you've been coaching for some time, these questions will be second nature because you have heard them over and over again. But if the questions are kind of generic to most clients, what you can do is put all of them into an FAQ page on your website so that you can save time during your coaching sessions. So really having an FAQ page, and begin now gathering up the common questions that are asked and answer them on the website, is going to save you a lot of time. In our School of Ministry, we have a FAQ page that explains most of the common questions, and you wouldn't believe how much support that is, where people, instead of calling us or emailing us, can now look at that page and it answers most of their questions. So it's really important now, as you're beginning to start off in this adventure of coaching, to begin to write down these different questions and your answers to them, and begin to develop that. And it'll take a while to develop, but eventually you'll have the most common questions answered on your website. Getting into the zone. Before the session start, make sure that there will be no distractions. So you want to close the doors, turn off the phones, and if you're working at home, let family members know not to disturb you. So this is your time to prepare before the session and to actually be in the session. You don't want interruptions. You don't want a lot of noise, a lot of things going on. So you want to set it up in such a way that you can really be in the moment and begin to do your coaching. So you want to prepare a system for taking notes during the session. So you want to get you a notepad. You want to have that ready. You want to begin to go ahead and take notes if you're going to do it that way. Excuse me, either on paper or electronically. Figure out a way that you want to do this. Some coaches even record their calls so they can go back later to hear exactly what was said. We use something called freeconferencing.com for our coach training sessions, and it actually has built in within it the ability to record the sessions. And when I've trained my coaches, I have told them that, really it's a good idea to use something like that. It's a meeting place. In other words, instead of giving them your home number and they call you, and they might decide they're going to call you at all hours of the day or night, having something like freeconferencing.com, they have a number, they have a code, and that you can say that at this time I will meet you there. They call, they can wait, there's music going on, and then you show up, and then it records that call. So really it's a perfect way of doing it. And then you can go over the session that you had later, and you can begin to take notes of pertinent things later. And it'll also have a record of that call that you can download as an MP3, listen to it, think about it. You could edit out parts of it, whatever you want to do. You want to prepare a glass of water, a cup of coffee, or anything else you might need. So you want to get yourself set up so that you don't have to leave, that you can totally stay focused. You want to mentally prepare yourself to get into the zone. You could do this through some type of pre-session routine that gets you into a positive social mood where you're ready to talk. So, it might take you, in some sense, just getting yourself in a way psyched up so that you can get ready for that coaching session. You want to get out of your head any concerns or cares that you have. Like I said, praying beforehand is a great way to do that. You may need to try some kind of grounding technique to just relax, do some deep breathing. Whatever method you choose, remember that coaching sessions should be fun. So get in a state where you're enthusiastic and eager to help your client break through their obstacles and achieve success. So this is going to be a great session. You've prepared, you've gone over your notes, you've prayed, you're ready to go, and this is going to be a great session, and you're going to get some great results. And so you want to go into it with a really upbeat outlook. Wrapping up. Finally, make a plan for wrapping up your sessions. You need to stick closely to the time schedule created by you and your client. But by the end of the session, there should be a smooth and natural, not abrupt ending to the session. Because, it feels inconsiderate and unfeeling for the client if you just kind of terminate. Well, now we're done. That's it. You may want to designate the last 5 minutes of the session as a cooling down of asking some questions and reviewing what you've gone over. Something like that to just kind of ease into the, finishing the session without just being very abrupt. This is a good time to lay out the expectations for your next session. So next session, we're going to be talking about the first coaching session, creating an individualized coaching plan. That'll be lesson 3. And it's going to deal with the free consultation or the first session, self-assessment worksheet, responsibilities and expectations, measuring progress, and session details. So for more information or to sign up for my next 10-week Life Breakthrough or Marriage Coach Certification Training, go ahead and visit on the web, www.biblicallifecoachtraining.com. God bless. Have a wonderful day.